The rain was constant, a relentless drumming against the panoramic windows of the control room. Elah Implant Valley shimmered below, a sea of neon and shadow, a ghost town. The hum of the servers was a low, guttural growl, the heartbeat of Golibust, the corporate behemoth that cast its long shadow over the valley. It was a place where dreams were born and crushed, where ambition was a virus, and where the line between innovation and exploitation was blurred. Golibust's latest creation, GollyT, was a weapon masquerading as an app. It promised to streamline lives, to connect people, but its true purpose was domination. Its AI was a black box, a predator, and its reach was limitless. Billboards blazed with its logo, a stylized G, a symbol of absolute power. X was a frenzy of hype, a chorus of voices singing its praises, drowning out the whispers of dissent. I sat in the corner diner, watching the rain, the neon signs reflecting in the greasy windows. The coffee was burnt, the air thick with the smell of stale grease and desperation. This place was a graveyard of broken dreams, a monument to the casualties of the tech wars. I watched the people, their faces etched with anxiety, their eyes hollow with exhaustion. They were the foot soldiers, the grunts in the trenches, fighting for scraps in a world ruled by giants. Golibust's ascent was meteoric, a dark, unstoppable force. Share prices soared, investors whispered in hushed tones, and the money flowed like a river of black ink. But who were the puppet masters? Who pulled the strings from the shadows? The question hung in the air, unanswered, a ghost in the machine. The smaller firms, the startups clinging to life, were being crushed. ISCO, once a beacon of innovation, was now a sinking ship. Layoffs gutted the staff, empty desks stood as silent reminders of lost potential, and the specter of bankruptcy loomed. Then came Tony, a kid, barely out of his teens, a lad in a thrift store hoodie. He was the intern, the one they hired to fix the bugs in their dying mobile games. No one saw the fire in his eyes, the code he'd mastered in the shadows, the slingshot he carried in his pocket. He watched his friends get axed, saw the life drain from ISCO's eyes. He was a silent observer, a ghost in the machine, but his mind was a whirlwind of calculations, a storm of code. When Mr. Donald, Golibust's CEO, a predator in a tailored suit, offered to buy ISCO's carcass, something snapped. "I can take down Golibust," Tony said, his voice a low hum. "Give me 5 days." Laughter, sharp and cruel, echoed through the boardroom. Elias, his supervisor, told him to sit, to be quiet. Harvard grads scoffed, their eyes filled with disdain. But Tony hacked Sonny's phone live, a sleight of hand, revealing a private photo. A heavy silence fell. Sonny, ISCO's beleaguered MD, saw a flicker of something in the kid's eyes, a spark of defiance. "Last guy who tried cracking GollyT wound up dead," he warned, offering a USB of dead code. Tony skimmed it, handed it back. "I've got my own tools." Sonny signed a deal, 30% of ISCO's shares, instant firing if he failed. Tony's signature was small, but his resolve was a steel trap, a fortress. Tony's cubicle became a bunker, a war room. The glow of his laptop, the sprawl of cables, the empty energy drink cans, a testament to his relentless focus. GollyT's beta, a sleek, seductive weapon, was his target. He downloaded it, dissected it, mapped its defenses, slipped through a flaw, hit a wall of AI traps. Days blurred into nights. He was a phantom, navigating the labyrinth of code. He found the heart of GollyT, a ghost server, buried deep within the Valley's network, a black hole. Day 5, he struck. His virus slid past Golibust's guards, hit the command server. An hour of silence, then GollyT faltered. Glitches spread, users raged, the app crashed. Golibust's stock bled 40% in minutes. GollyT down trended. ISCO's office buzzed with disbelief, a collective gasp of astonishment. Sonny handed Tony the shares, now worth millions. "Who are you, kid?" Tony shrugged. "Just a coder." Golibust didn't flinch long. That night, Donald hit the airwaves, his smirk intact, a predator on the hunt. "A disgruntled hacker," he sneered, voice smooth as oil, "a serpent, a nuisance. We'll crush it." The PR machine roared, downplaying the crash, spinning a narrative of resilience. But the damage was done, the cracks were showing. Tony wasn't done. Move 2, GollyT, his own app, a shield built from the cracks he'd found in GollyT's system. Free on X, it spiked, 10,000, then 100,000 downloads, wildfire. Users jumped ship, fleeing the sinking GollyT. Golibust's bots tried to bury it, flood it with spam, but momentum had shifted, the tide was turning. Day 7, Tony went live. A glitchy YouTube feed, his face lit blue by his laptop. "Watch this," he said, and started typing. Code flew across the screen, a storm, a symphony of ones and zeros. He'd built a dummy of GollyT's system, a sandbox mirroring its guts. 30 minutes in, he cracked it, passwords spilled, backdoors gaped, the secrets laid bare. If I can do this to a fake, imagine the real thing. The chat exploded, a digital riot. Golibust's PR flailed, calling it staged theatrics, a desperate attempt to maintain control. But the Valley's coders, the indie misfits, the garage hackers, saw the truth. Tony's stream wasn't a stunt, it was a blueprint, a manifesto. Indie devs rallied to GollyT, building plugins, an ecosystem sprouted overnight, a rebellion. Ad blockers, privacy shields, anti-AI scanners, all free, all chipping at Golibust's grip, a guerrilla war. Downloads soared, Monopoly, In Trouble trended, the cracks in Golibust's armor widened. "He's building an army," Elias muttered, his voice filled with a mix of awe and fear. Tony stayed silent, typing, his fingers flying across the keyboard, his mind a whirlwind of code. Donald struck back, a predator cornered. A press conference, prime time, a promise of a crackdown on cybercriminals, a declaration of war, lawsuits, bots, rumors of a GollyT reboot, a desperate attempt to regain control. The Valley braced for the hammer. Tony barely blinked, his eyes fixed on the screen, his mind focused on the task at hand. Move 5 was brewing, a storm gathering on the horizon. A whistleblower group, tech activists with capital ties, pulled Tony in, a digital David facing the Goliath of government. A Senate hearing loomed, a battleground. He walked into it, flannel-clad, unshaven, dwarfed by suits who could crush him with a word, a pawn in a high-stakes game. Donald, patched in remote, his face looming on the screen, a digital god. GollyT's not just an app, Tony said, his voice quiet but firm, a whisper that echoed through the chamber. It's a weapon, a tool of surveillance, a means of control. Proof, leaks, emails, timestamps, the breadcrumbs of Golibust's transgressions. He flashed a file live, an email from Donald himself, greenlighting GollyT's invasive core, signed and dated, a confession. GollyT's a shield, not a sword, Tony said, his voice calm, resolute, a digital guardian. People deserve a choice, a right to privacy, a defense against tyranny. Donald erupted, his face contorted with rage, a predator cornered. Slander! He's a liar! This is a witch hunt! His voice boomed, amplified by the speakers, a roar. But the room stilled, the senator's eyes fixed on the screen, the email glowing, undeniable, an indictment. Donald's face twisted, a mask of rage, panic, something primal, a demon exposed. Tony sat, hands folded, calm as a stone, a sentinel. The feed cut. The screen went black, a void. X ignited, our takedown trending worldwide, an uprising. I was glued to the screen, my heart pounding, a spectator in a high-stakes game. Golibust's stock bled 20% more, a digital hemorrhage. Regulators circled, their eyes hungry, their pens poised, a reckoning. Users fled GollyT, an exodus, seeking refuge in GollyT, a sanctuary. Golibust didn't fall that day. Giants don't die that fast. Their roots run deep, their tendrils reach far. But its untouchability shattered, its aura of invincibility cracked, its throne rattled. GollyT tanked under the weight of public scrutiny, a relic of broken trust, a monument to hubris. Donald snarled in interviews, wounded but alive, a predator licking its wounds. Isco roared back, its stock soaring, its staff rehired, a phoenix rising from the ashes. Sonny gave Tony a corner office, a symbol of success, but he rarely used it, preferring his couch, his laptop, his code. He typed on, GollyT free and growing, a wildfire spreading across the globe. People called it a movement, a revolution, an uprising, but he didn't care. He never did. He was just a coder, writing lines of code, building a shield. I watched him from the diner, from the corner of my eye. He was a shadow, a phantom, always hunched over his laptop, his face illuminated by the glow of the screen, a recluse, lost in the labyrinth of code. I wondered what drove him, what fueled his obsession, what made him risk everything for a cause he barely articulated. Was it a sense of justice? A desire for revenge? Or was it something else? Something deeper? Sonny Isco's MD was a man haunted by the ghosts of his past failures. He'd gambled everything on Isco, pouring his heart and soul into the company, only to watch it crumble before his eyes. Tony's defiance, his willingness to risk it all, was a mirror to Sonny's own youthful idealism, a reminder of what he'd lost along the way. When he handed Tony the shares, it wasn't just a business transaction. It was a passing of the torch, a redemption of some sorts. Isco is safe. All thanks to Tony, the ghost in the machine.
Some stories end loud, with sirens, shouts, or a slamming door. Others end quietly, like a candle burning out at dawn. But all of them leave something behind. A question, a scar, a prayer. I fold this one away, not to forget, but to remember that even in the ashes, God still speaks. Until next time, my name is Gilbert, and I am the listener.